Good morning, good morning, good morning. Listen, let me get all my little stuff out of the way. As you all enter, make sure y'all hit that like button. If you're over on Twitter, X, make sure y'all hit that heart. And if you're over on Twitch, do what you do. I think you all send a bit. I am not sure. Listen, we're gonna go over all of this stuff that we know now. But first, the Copyright Disclaimer Act under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might be otherwise infringing. And let me explain to you all to this. The views and opinions expressed in my videos represent my own thoughts, concerns, and analysis. I don't know these folk personally or professionally, and my opinions are not statements of fact. Listen, we got a lot of stuff to go over. We got a lot of stuff to go over. Well, apparently, in the middle of the midnight hour, the police in Utah, the feds, the state, and the local police, they apprehended who they now deemed as a suspect who pruned Charlie Kirk from the timeline as Tyler Robinson, who's a 22-year-old from Logan, Utah. So what I do, I have two articles. I have one from the Daily Mail, and I have one from Reuters, however you pronounce it. I'm game. All right, make sure everything is cool. So let's go over here to Reuters. They talked about who Tyler Robinson was, or who is he. And this is an article written by Andrew Hay, Nathan Lane, and James Pearson. This is the initial shot or mug shot that they have of him. And I want you to all pay attention to this. Because before we got the mugshot, we got the beautiful family photos and all of these types of things. And I'm going to show those things to you. But I want you to see the difference between the rhetoric of yesterday and the rhetoric of today. Now, the rhetoric of yesterday was was liberal, extremist, and according to president, he was seeking the death penalty for the liberal extremists. They were looking for all of these little different things. Everybody was talking about how we can agree to disagree, but this is violence and we will not stand for this, and we are going to get this person. It was all of this stuff and all of this rhetoric, and somehow, some way, black folks got put into the middle of this, to where you had HBCUs, historically black colleges and institutions, in universities, excuse me, they were getting death threats. We had about 5 or 6 of them that were had nothing to do with what's going on in Utah. Then they started talking about the 92% and black. Black women don't have anything to do with this. But that was the rhetoric set up yesterday. Even going to Wednesday up and through yesterday. This was the rhetoric that was set up. So now let's find out who the suspect is and how he was captured. So, Tyler Robinson is a 20-year-old native of Utah who authorities say had allegedly criticized the conservative influencer in a recent conversation and was living with his family at the time of the shooting. Robinson was arrested late on Thursday after a family friend called authorities, officials said on Friday. So they asked the public for help, and the public gave them the help that they needed. Investigators have not publicly identified a motive Utah Governor Spencer Cox told reporters that a family member interviewed by law enforcement said Robinson had recently mentioned Kirk's appearance at a Utah Valley University where he was pruned from the timeline on Tuesday at a recent dinner. Now, all of these things are interesting. It's interesting to me that they found all these family members that can speak now, because his image has been on the news for at least 2 days now. I'll go back to that as well. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints he had, Cox said. Robinson had also become more political in recent years, the family members told investigators. Robinson does not appear to have any criminal history, according to the state records reviewed by Reuters. He was a registered voter but was not affiliated with a political party, according to state voter records. Because they were looking, because they looked through those records because they needed to find whether or not that he identified as a liberal, a Democrat. If he identified as a liberal or a Democrat, I am willing to bet you the roof is going to be thrown onto him. Record shows he was an inactive voter, which means he had not cast a ballot in recent elections and had not responded to mailings from the county clerk office. Other details about Robinson's life were still emerging on Friday. He briefly attended Utah State University in Logan for one semester in 2021, the school confirmed to Reuters. That's important. In video posted by his mother on Facebook, Robinson can be seen reading aloud from a letter offering him a 4-year scholarship from Utah State University as she cheered. Another post said that Robinson earned a score of 34 on the ACT college entrance exam, which put him in the top 1% of test takers. That's interesting too, because they want to show you in a light that, hey, he's an extremely intelligent young man. He was going into college, and his mother was very excited about him going into college. At the time of his arrest, he was living in his family home in Washington County and in the southwest corner of Utah near the Nevada border. He has 2 younger brothers, according to his parents' Facebook post. His mother is a social worker at a nonprofit healthcare company, while his father's occupation was not immediately clear. Facebook shows doting mother. His mother's Facebook posts over the years, most of which were deleted on Friday. Why are you deleting Facebook posts? Mostly doted on her family, documenting trips to Alaska, the Caribbean, Disneyland, celebrating school plays, Halloween costumes, yada, yada, yada. Other posts shows Robinson and his brother occasionally with guns, though that's not uncommon in a state with permissive firearms. Driving away without him was one of the most difficult things I had to do in a long time, his mother wrote in a post about helping him move to college in 2021. He's so excited to start his journey, and it's going to be so amazing for him. So, this is Reuters. I'm not going to read all of it. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Robinson's roommate also showed messages Robinson had sent via the Discord platform describing leaving a right. On Thursday, Cox said a family member called a family friend, who in turn called the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. Robinson's roommate also showed messages Robinson had sent via the Discord platform describing leaving a rifle in a bush wrapped in a towel, matching the weapon that authorities recovered in a wooded area near the scene of the shooting. Robinson was booked in the Utah County Jail in Spanish Fork, about 12 miles south of the university where Kirk was pruned. He has not been formally charged. Now, I wanted to read that. That was so you all can have a background like we have a background, and how they're now shaping this. Because yesterday he was the scourge of the earth. Today we are meant to have empathy for him. We are to show, because he has a loving and doting mother. He scored 35, 34, 34 on his ACT. He spent a semester in college. We're supposed to have that empathy for him. Now, yesterday, we weren't supposed to have all of that. We were supposed to be trying to figure out if he was a Democrat liberal and whether or not that, well, there's just wasn't supposed to be any empathy. And again, they were bringing up black folks. They were bringing up all these people who they were trying to give the image of who you should have no mercy for. So the last sentence in this, it says Robinson was booked into the Utah County Jail in Spanish Fork, about 12 miles south of the university where Kirk was shot. He has not been formally charged. And this is where I'm trying to figure out what is going on. Because in all of this and all of this rhetoric, the thing that gets me is when they start talking about the statistics. And they compare, they want to talk about black on black crime, crime in any other neighborhoods, but they focus on black crime, and they talk about the homicides, they talk about the burglaries, they talk about all of these little different things. But one of the things that I have noticed about these statistics is when you start looking at when people from my community are charged, they are immediately charged. They are immediately charged. Had this been Tyreek Robinson, he would have been charged with premeditation, assault with a deadly weapon. If he was a licensed, if he was an unlicensed gun owner, he'd have been charged with illegally having a firearm. We would have known these charges as soon as they stepped to the podium. Why has he not been formally charged? They're trying to figure out they're negotiating. They're in those back rooms trying to negotiate how to charge him because they understand and know that he is one of them. He was raised as one of them. So let me get to this article over here by the Daily Mail. Now, this is what we have. You have Charlie Kirk's sex motive revealed. Unhinged messages found scrawled on bullets as family recalled his chilling truth. Now, they said that was debunked. But we're going to continue on what they said. So when you look at this, because they have several different articles about this. Suspect confirmed as Utah man. You see the picture that they put up first. Tyler Robinson's dark online footprint, vital clues found in messages may be explaining how he evaded cops for so long. There is his nice picture of him. Now, these are all the different articles that the way that they have them set up. See how we have them positioned? These are all the articles and how they have them set up. They even talked about he wore a Donald Trump costume when he was doing Halloween a few years back, 2017 to be exact. And here you have his family. They're showing you these family pictures. They need for you to feel empathy for him now, people, because yesterday there was no empathy for you to be able to have for this person. When they thought this person either was somebody black, either was a leftist, or they were a Democrat. You were not supposed to have any empathy for this person. But today, you're going to have all of this empathy for this young man. Because now you're going to start hearing, oh, I don't understand how he could have such an exacting, a shot. He's 22 years old. He doesn't train. He wasn't trained. He's been growing up with guns all of his life. And just to be fair, I've grown up with guns all my life. And it depends on the gun that you have and the gun that you want to be proficient with. So could he have made that shot? Absolutely. And to be fair, anyone with 4 to 5 to 6 months training could make that shot. But watch how we infantilize him. Watch how we start making him seem like he's a teenager. Watch the wording that's going to be used around this young man. He's a boy. He's a young boy. Watch the wording that's going to be used around him. And again, my question to you all is, why hasn't he been formally charged? Because had he been Tyreek Robinson, we would have had a litany of charges already placed on the in this news report. Why? Because they're figuring out how to charge him. And this is what I've been saying. Shout out to Torian Rain Reloaded. If you're not familiar with him, please go watch his channel on YouTube. Yesterday, he did a live about this whole situation, and I joined him and basically said we need to check these statistics. Always check the statistics, because they will charge people that look like me that night. But now they're trying. He hasn't been formally charged. They haven't given the formal charges yet. Why? Oh, well, they arrested him in the middle of the night. And I have known in some states, I don't know in all states, but I know in some states they have judges that work at night, that come in at night when it's a special circumstances. Or they have day and night court. This is Fed. It's my understanding. But why haven't they been charging him? Wonder what they're going to charge him for. Because again, uh, they're figuring out the best way to charge him so it doesn't upset their base. Because see, we got this. You see, I got this picture up here. Because this is his beautiful family. And he comes from a beautiful family. Are they going to charge him with first degree? Are they going to charge him with terroristic? What are they going to charge him with? And why haven't they charged him? I think Torian put up a picture of, because yesterday everybody was up in arms, particularly for the incident that happened in Charlotte, North Carolina, with the Ukrainian refugee that was appeared to be approved from the timeline by a black man, and everybody was up in arms. He was a 14-time felon. He was all of this, and then a couple of months prior, you have a white man on a bus doing pretty much the same thing, and you don't hear anything about him and his charges. Why? They don't charge him. Now, thankfully, the person in that attack survived. But did they charge that person with attempted murder? No. He's a white man. They put lesser charges on him. Assault with a deadly weapon. Pam, you're being hyperbolic. You're talking thing. No, I'm just telling y'all the truth. Whether y'all want to look at it or not, look at the statistics. Why is it that when you break communities down, in white communities, they have a high instance of vandalism? But all the other statistics are at a metered level. But they have a high instance of vandalism. What are they vandalizing? Let's see if he gets charged with vandalism. Or let's see if he gets charged with trespassing. I don't want to be on here too long. I just want you to pay attention to how the news media, his introduction into the news media. You see, he's all the smiles, and you don't get to see his mugshot. No, we're in here. I lied. Here we go. Right? Let's see what you all are talking about. Hey, Sam. Thank you. Hey, William. I can't wait to hear those apologies to Black people and the LGBTQ community since we ain't got nothing to do with this. You'll never hear it. And that's the issue and problem because that's all they'll focus on. And so when they talk about this again, watch the wording that they're going to use around this young man, this young boy. You're never going to hear an apology. But they were wanting to get that type of image out in the community because again, that's all people heard. And now that they know someone's caught, they're not really caring about they're not caring about the fact that you had 6 HBUs that had bomb and death threats and the kids had to be evacuated. We're not talking about that rhetoric that they use with the LGBTQIA community. They're not even talking about the rhetoric that they used against Black folk. And then tried to throw Black women in the middle of it. We were nowhere near that mess. But again, America's bias of Black folks making people believe that we are the most violent people when we're not. I mean, even this man that went on to glory was spouting out statistics that didn't make any sense. 1 in every 6 Black person is a criminal. The lies you tell. But everyone's biases will believe that. Everyone's biases will believe that. Because again, when you look on the news and how the traditional news media operates, anytime that there's a crime and it's committed by folks that look like me, we are front and center with our mugshots. Any type of crime that's committed by people that look like the majority folks that live in this country, we're going to get to see their high school photo album. We're going to get to see the pictures that his mama was able to give to the police. Or they're going to pull from the Facebook page. They don't pull the Facebook page pictures when someone that looks like me has been able to commit a crime. They don't pull them Facebook pictures. So we will see. We will see what they're going to do. Because again, there are negotiations going on behind the scene. Hey, Ernest. Oh, that's yes. They're going to talk again. They're going to infantilize him. Oh, well, they're younger than what they are. He's a grown man with 2 kids. You made it a big point for us to know that he was married. He's a family man. This person who did this had to be a degenerate. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. According to the pictures that they want you to see, he comes from the ideal family. The suspected assassin. They're going to find some mental issue that's going to go on with this young man. They're going to say the video games that he played is a factor in all of this, all to deflect. Why aren't his parents being called to task? If he was Tyreek, his parents would be called to task. How did they raise him? Surely they saw what was going on. Surely they did. They're his parents. They have her described as a doting mother. She's a social worker. She's a professional. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Now today, I bet you will hear rhetoric of us coming together. We all need to come together. We all are Americans. We are this, and we need to come together. And also, too, whether you all realize this or not, all of this, watching him reading the letter, if him getting to the college that he wants to, juxtaposed next to his mugshot. You see, it's in video form, so you're going to pay, or in a gift form, so that you're going to pay more attention to this than you are of this, even though it's bigger. But we get to see all of his pictures of him smiling, looking like a good old healthy young man. In the Halloween costume. See how it's all juxtaposed? Because this is jury signaling. This is what they're signaling to the jury or the jury pool, because it's going to be there in Utah. They're signaling to the jury, this is a good young man coming from a good family. He must have had a mental breakdown for him to get involved with anything like this, because this is just not like him, of a young man like him. You saw the governor almost about to cry about all of this and family and stuff like that in the news conference. So, again, I don't want to be on here long. I just want us to look at that. I just want us to go over this stuff and pay good attention. I wonder if this case is going to be televised. I'm looking forward to that. I'm wondering if this case is, because I don't know who has it. I'm assuming that the state has the jurisdiction on this case and the FBI assisted. I don't know if this is going to go into any federal cases, any federal courts at this time, unless they charge him with a terroristic act or something. But we definitely will see. Y'all got any questions or anything? All right, people. We do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share. I may come back, depending on if I have much to do today or not. I may come back on here and we'll talk about it in more in detail. But I did want to come on here to say this is interesting. He has not been charged. They're already with the campaign of, oh, he's a good, decent young man. He just took a wrong turn. possibly mental illness. They're going to talk about all of these little different things. Pay attention to the news on Thursday, September 11th versus the news going forward. Today is Friday, September 12th. Pay attention to the news. See how they're going to slowly frame him. And I'm curious again. I'm real curious of the charges that they're going to charge, because it is 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. And what is Utah? An hour behind? They had all night with him. They picked him up on Thursday. They did his mugshot. You mean to tell me this morning they don't know what charges to charge him with? Child, a mess. All right, people. I know I said it, but we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.